What up? This is your boy DoBoy, and this is another installment of Sober Saturdays. What is Sober Saturdays? You shouldn't even be asking because this is episode number 6. But if you new to this, not true to this, then I'm gonna let you know what it is. Basically, what Sober Saturdays is, it's a piece of content that I put together where I talk about my times and you know, the life and times of me getting sober, staying sober, and just living a sober lifestyle. Started off as a vlog series, but then we said, hey, why don't we start bringing in some guests and we could chop it up with them about their experience and their lifestyles and how they got sober and how they stay sober. So today I am very, very excited for my next guest. Not only is she a very, very dope individual in all things, very artistic person, very person that's a content creator, all these different things. She's also the first woman guest that we're having on Sober Saturdays. So I'm excited for her to be here. I'm excited for you guys to hear about her testimony and the things that she has been through with sobriety. Please welcome to the platform, Honey Gomez. Say hello to the people.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for pulling up. I love your glasses, by the way.
I appreciate
pretty
that.
stylistic. Those are pretty
Thank
cool.
you.
So Honey Gomez, tell the people a little bit about yourself, like who you are, where you come from. Are you originally from the LA area?
Yeah, people call me Honey Gomez. My name is Desiree. Okay. I am born and raised Venice, Santa Monica, Los Angeles, West Side area.
West Side?
Yeah, so recently I just became a travel agent, so I've just been traveling the world a lot, and you know, I work in hospitality, and yeah, I'm sober. I've been sober for a while now.
Yeah, so I checked out your IG. Looks like you travel quite a lot. What's the dopest place that you would say that you visited thus far?
My favorite place, I would say, is Bali. And Bali was, yeah.
I got a friend out there. My boy Russell Simmons moved out there.
Yeah.
So he actually built a hotel and a resort out there. He says it's very peaceful.
It's very peaceful. So actually, Bali is the first place I went for my healing journey, and it really got me into my skin, and I really learned a lot about myself while I was out there.
Really?
I was out there for 2.5 weeks, yeah.
Wow, so you spent some serious time out there.
I spent some serious time out there. I mean, I went with my cousin, so I didn't go alone. My plan was to go alone, but even though I was with her, I was still in my thoughts, and I was still, you know, curating what I needed to curate to heal the pain that I had.
Got you. Okay. So yeah, let's take it back to the beginning then, because I think that, you know, and I always, you know, I like to do this with my guests, like, you know what I'm saying, in order to find out how it all kind of got started and how we get to this place, I think you kind of got to trace it back to the beginning. So take me back to your childhood. Like, did you grow up in a 2-parent household? You got siblings? Tell me a little bit about your upbringing.
Yeah, no, I grew up with my grandfather, my mom, and I do have siblings. You know, I have 5 siblings. Okay. And I have.
Where do you fall in that?
I am the second oldest.
Second oldest, so close to a middle child.
Close, yeah. I mean, I still feel like I'm the oldest child. My brother is a little bit on the goofier side, so I'm still like, you know, the responsible one.
Got you.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, like, did you grow up in, like, was it like a strict household? Was it like, you know what I mean? Was it like a church going household? Like, what was your memories of your childhood that you got?
So for my childhood, it was a struggle. You know, my mom had to do a lot on her own with just me and my brother at the time.
So I'm assuming dad wasn't in the picture?
Father was not in the picture. So
Gotcha.
My grandfather was my father figure for most of the part. And my grandfather is a big part of how I started drinking as well.
Okay.
So we'll keep that in mind. Yeah, you know, we grew up, we grew up in a really poor environment. I grew up, you know, in shelters, and we had to fend for ourselves for a little while, majority of my life. And then my mom met my stepdad, and then we had our other 3 siblings. Okay.
So you said your mom ended up marrying or, you know, getting with your stepdad. How old were you when stepdad comes into the picture?
I want to say maybe like 5, 6 years old.
So really young.
Yeah, really young.
Gotcha. And your relationship with him decent?
Yeah, we're okay.
Okay, gotcha. No, I'm just talking about just growing up. So dad wasn't there. Grandpa was a big part of growing up, but then stepdad comes into the picture and things keep going on. Okay, now you said that, you know, your grandfather was an integral part in you beginning to drink.
Right.
Don't hear that every day. So how did that happen, and what age were you when that kind of kicks off?
Well, I feel like in majority of, you know, using substances, it does come from grief. It comes from loss. It comes from, you know, and grief and loss could come from anything. It could be someone passing away. It could be you losing a significant other, that's still alive, or you know, you losing a job, or whatever the case is. But for me, my grandfather passed away 3 days before I turned 18.
Okay.
And within that time, me and my first love, my, you know, high school sweetheart, had broken up too. So I'm just getting hit with losses. But his loss, right before I turned 18, he passed away, and that was the first death that I've ever encountered. So that was really heavy on my heart. And, you know, I was close to being 18, and prior to that, I moved out of my own I moved out of my home.
Okay.
You know, me and my mom had got into it, and I moved out at 16.
You moved out pretty young.
Yeah, I was very young.
Okay. So you and mom were just not seeing things eye to eye?
We were not, I felt like I was like, kind of like, my mom worked a lot, and I just felt like I was always in charge of things in the household, and I got a lot of stuff put on me at such a young age, and so I became basically an adult at 16.
So you're an adult in a child's body. Like,
Absolutely.
you're grown up, you're just taking care of responsibilities,
Absolutely.
doing different things. So, and walk me through your childhood. Like, what was like elementary school, middle school like? Was that a fun time? Was it a cool time? Or were you still at that point feeling like you were growing up too fast because of how life was happening?
Yeah, but so let's rewind back. Like I said, we moved around a lot within the LA area because we had to always find different homes within the areas, like shelters or different accommodations that my mom had to find for us. So I went to like 13 different schools within the Los Angeles area growing up.
Wow.
So, you know, started at like Oakwood, then I went to Broadway, and then middle schools, I went to like Mark Twain, John Adams, Emerson, you know.
So this has to be tough on a child because there's no stability for real. You're
absolutely,
going all
and
these
so
different
for
places.
me, like, and then I had to meet new people all over again. So that's probably why I'm so charismatic now. Like, I've always meet new people, and I tie into just their personalities, and we're just, you know, I'm just in sync so fast. But it was hard. It was very hard for me to always transition.
Did you have any problems fitting in when you would go to these new schools? I mean, or did like that where the bubbly personality came from, where it was like it's easier to make friends?
It was, you know, not gonna lie, you know, growing up, I was also having an identity crisis, and a lot of people do have identity crises growing up. We were born, you know, in the society and lies, you know, so there's so many lies, and society's trying to tell you what to be and what not to be. And, you know, my mom is Hispanic, and since I never knew my father, my mom kept a lot of things from me. And to me, she's like, you're Hispanic, you're Mexican, and that's it. I'm like, I don't speak Spanish. I got this hair, I got this nose. Like,
talk to me, something's up.
So lies also happened in very early age. So for me, like, you know, just trying to figure out who I was. So, you know, I had kids making fun of me because of my hair, or so it was very hard for me to fit in. Like, okay, do I hang out with the Mexicans, or do I hang out with the blacks? And you know, and then in school, there's always like that, especially in middle school, you try to fend for yourself, and then fights start happening, and that's when I started to have to, you know, defend myself because I'm a pretty girl, and then
that's what I'm saying. I thought pretty girls didn't fight, or do pretty girls fight the most because these hoes be hating?
They was hating. I'm telling you. You know, I had to fend for myself because I was all I had. You know, so you know, girls think I'm trying to take their man. I don't even like boys at this point. Like, I'm just trying to focus. Like, the first schooling that I had, I was in Catholic school, like, majority of my life. My mom, my mom had us, you know, kept in these schools. So I was in Catholic school, and then when I got to public school, I was smart.
Right.
Like, Catholic school, they teach you stuff way earlier than
you were ahead of the
public
curve
school. Yeah, absolutely.
Of what it was. Right.
You know, when I went to middle school or high school, I was in like honors classes. So, you know, I just wanted to dumb myself down so I could be like everyone else. So I would start failing.
Ain't that sad too?
So
where
sad.
You gotta, and I feel like that's really big in the black community. Also, it's just like, you know, it's like you get looked down upon for being smart. Like, and I always hated that.
Yeah.
Like, I remember people used to make fun of me because I used to like reading. I'm like, nigga, you read this book? This is amazing.
I love reading. Yeah.
This book is like a whole getaway in this book. Just open the pages.
Yeah. Like,
reading
back then I was like, you didn't read Judy Blume? Like, what is Judy
what you
Blume?
know about Judy Blume?
I love
what
Judy
you know
Blume.
about Super Fudge? Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing.
Look at
I love these books.
God, it's me, Margaret.
What you know about? I read that book about a girl getting a period.
Yeah, I'm glad that they finally made a movie about it.
I heard about it. Did the movie come out already?
It did. I haven't seen it, but it did. Yeah.
I used to read. I was a Judy Blume fan. Wow, a fellow Bloomian.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up.
I mean, and then the Goosebumps happened.
Yeah. Okay, so life seems like it's a pretty rocky childhood. You got some things going on. You're moving to different schools. Issues with mom. So when does substance abuse now, and let me ask you before you even answer that, because I know from what you're telling me now, maybe we'll get more into it as we go along, you didn't know much about your father, but from what you were educated upon with your family, did substance abuse run in your family on either side?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, I'm I'm in a Hispanic family, and Hispanics love to drink.
I'm a quarter Hispanic, so trust me, I have a part of me.
Beers are always in a cooler,
right.
and we got them tequila shots going. So yeah, I've seen my family drink and stuff like that, but it was never something that I wanted to get into. I always hated people smoking cigarettes around me. I was just, that's just who I was. And then, parties started happening.
So how old were you when the party started happening and you started seeing things in a different light? Because I'm assuming you see it as at home or around the family, like, ew, I don't want to do that. But now you're in school. Kids are doing it. Maybe people are bringing some vodka to school or some some weed or whatever.
Yeah.
So at what point did it first start for you? Like, what was like that first time where you had an experience with alcohol? What was your first experience with alcohol? It's in general.
I want to say, well, my first experience, I think my mom gave me some beer to heal me from my sickness from when we were younger. It's like one of those things. Here, drink some beer. It's going to help
Drink
you.
this, mija.
No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
It's something along the lines.
Right,
but
right.
I think that, like I said, when I traveled a lot in school, my mom, like I was starting to be very bad. Like I was an adolescent. I was like, if you're not seeing me, I'm going to make you see me.
Oh, you're going to see me.
Yeah. And back then I didn't think that's what it was. But now that I'm an adult and I've done my research, that's exactly what it was.
So
I was
you're
like,
acting
see me,
out a
I'm
little
acting
bit.
out. So she decides to move the family to San Diego. And this is my junior year in high school.
Okay.
And I'm at Venice High.
Partially based on how you're acting.
Yes.
Like, let me get her the hell out of LA.
I took myself out of Venice High and I transferred to Hamilton by myself. And when I came back to Venice, there was cops there. My mom literally was looking for me everywhere. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So she was like, we're going to San Diego. I'm like,
okay.
Oh, shoot. Okay. So we go to San Diego and this is a whole new thing for me. They didn't want me to go to this school. They're like, she needs to go to a continuation school. But my mom ended up, allowing me to go there.
So you're saying you were acting out. So was the acting out just mostly fights, getting into it in class?
I was just being rebellious, to be honest. I was just talking back and didn't want to come home. I was like, I'm an adult already. Leave me alone.
Got you.
So
Okay, but still at no point, no substances have entered the party.
At all, yeah.
So now we're in San Diego.
Now we're in San Diego.
Junior in high school.
Okay. I just started making friends. And out there, it was just different. It's like a small town. It was called Escondido. It was a small town, and everyone always had parties. So I was like, oh. I'm even rebelling even more. Now I'm going to parties.
There's other people that doing what I'm doing.
Right.
So now you're around other kids who are rebelling from their situation.
Exactly.
The common thread is we rebel together.
Yeah.
So now you're a junior. So now do you remember the first time that you got introduced to?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a party, and there was just, I'm not sure how the alcohol was there, but there was alcohol, and we were just drinking. Yeah.
And so did you get drunk the first time that you drank?
And the crazy part is I don't remember that.
Right.
I don't remember what happened. I just know it was fun.
So
drinking was fun. It wasn't numbing. It was just fun.
It was like, this is some cool shit to do.
It was just fun.
So now we're starting to
also,
drink.
I was in love. I met my first boyfriend. I was in love, and everything was just all new.
And so I'm assuming he was drinking too?
I believe so. You know what? He probably wasn't. He was a varsity basketball player. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think it was
okay.
It wasn't too big either. I mean, what were they? Cooler lights, or there wasn't anything heavy we could get.
Right. So so it's nothing too crazy. I don't
think it was too crazy.
You'd be shocked. You know what I'm saying? I've talked to some people who were snorting pixie sticks in high school.
I think it was Hypnotic or I don't know.
Mad Dog 2020. Basic shit. So it's not a problem though.
It wasn't a problem then.
You're not sneaking vodka in your water bottle in fifth period.
No, it was when my mom decided that I should no longer live with her anymore. She can't handle me. So she moved me. She said, go back to LA. And I went back to Venice. And that's when I started.
So now you're living alone.
No, I moved in with my best friend. My best friend's family took me in.
Okay.
Well, it's not my best friend. That's my sister.
Gotcha.
Her family took me in. And so, yeah, I started, she had a car too. So we were just senior year.
17 years old.
Yeah.
Access to a vehicle.
And one of my friends started bringing vodka in water bottles. So
that's when that started.
That's when
senior
it started.
Year. Oh,
yeah,
okay. So this
senior year is
So you're drinking in class now.
And then I would tell my sister Stacy, I was like, hey, stop at the liquor store. I started smoking Black and Milds. So now I'm smoking Black and Milds before class.
Before class?
Drinking, this and I guess I can rewind a little bit. I started smoking weed in 10th grade in the alleys with my brother out of an apple.
Why does everybody... There's so many people who started smoking out of an apple.
It's because we don't have access to go into a smoke shop and get pipes and stuff. And none of my family had all that. So it's So
what was your relationship with weed? Was that just like some, I'm chilling
I remember I smoked it in the alley behind the market near Mark Twain. And I went to school and I sat on the steps at Venice High, sat on the steps near the elevator, and all I heard was wow, 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 wow. Like, it was like a new experience. I was like, I do not like this at all.
Right. So you really wasn't into the weed.
I wasn't into
so
it,
much.
but I end up high school was all about weed.
So you're smoking weed and you're drinking.
Smoking Black and Mild.
Okay. And so where's your life trajectory taking you out of high school? Is it I'm about to go to college, or I'm about to just get in the workforce, or I'm about to just be a city
point,
girl?
I'm just hurt. I'm like, I feel abandoned. I feel like my mom threw me away.
That's got to be tough.
My boyfriend broke up with me because he couldn't do long distance.
Never really knew pops.
Never knew pops. And then my grandfather passes away in my 12th grade year.
So is that when the maybe self-medicating drinking starts?
That's exactly when it happened.
So
that day, the day of the funeral and stuff, the whole family, was getting drunk and stuff, and I was like, wow, I like the feeling of not feeling.
So that's when you're introduced to, I'm going through something and it doesn't hurt as much once I take this magic potion. So that can be very dangerous.
Alcohol is a spirit.
It is. That's why they call it spirits.
These dark spirits do take over you, especially if you are in a dark time.
Oh, absolutely.
And within the feelings that you are feeling, now that is what it is. And alcohol is a depressant.
Absolutely.
So once we start feeling, once we start numbing it and we wake up and we feel so depressed and we feel doubtful and we feel like, what did I do? Like, those are the feelings that I no longer wanted anymore. But yeah, I ended up dropping out of high school after my grandfather passed. And I was like, I just got a full-time job. I started working. And I mean, eventually I was like, my grandpa wouldn't want this for me. So I went back and got my diploma, but I didn't walk stage with my class. I didn't, I just did all the fun stuff. Like I went to grad night and I did the prom.
Right.
Prom, I was
you went to the
super
prom?
loaded.
You was loaded at the prom?
I was 2 hours late to prom. I was loaded. Apparently, just a couple weeks ago, I met but there was a girl, we hung out and she was like, do you remember trying to fight me at prom? I'm like, no. Oh my gosh. That was so bad. And just hearing things like that about
that's
my
one
past,
of the main reasons why I got sober too, because you always hate somebody telling you something you said or did.
I did what?
I'd be like, wait, what?
Because that's not my spirit. That's not my character. That was that spirit taking over who I was.
Exactly.
And even like another old friend of mine was like, do you remember our 18th birthday party we threw? And I don't know. I did some crazy stuff. I was like, you have to understand. 3 days prior to that party, my grandfather passed, and I was just done.
Right.
Like I don't remember my 18th birthday party.
Wow.
None of it. I just remember my best friend, rest in peace, Oscar Duncan. He was, the security guard there, and he, was stopping other things from happening. And me personally, I just don't remember. I don't remember. And I'm sorry for anyone that I hurt.
No. That's the thing. And I think that's, that's one of the things that I'm learning in the meetings and trying to learn is that, what I'm saying, like we had a career as alcoholics, and and sometimes we don't forgive ourselves for stuff, or we just kind of relive the tape.
Absolutely.
Or there's stuff that we forget and we just have this self-guilt, but there's just got to be able to let that stuff go, forgive yourself, heal from it as best as you can.
Forgiveness is one of the main things that you need to do in life.
Absolutely.
Like a lot of people always say, dang, you forgave that person. I mean, because it wasn't for them.
Right.
I don't like carrying any baggage or any darkness over me.
Right.
Like and everyone's human. You go through things, then you do things to other people unconsciously sometimes, and just like that with alcohol, we don't remember.
No, it's definitely.
I don't like not remembering.
Yeah, that's scary. Like I would hate waking up in the morning, looking at my phone, and saying that I had a 2.5 conversation with somebody, and I don't know what the fuck I was talking about. It was just terrible. So okay, so now you get out of high school, you make it through high school, drinking is, and then after you have some tragedy in your life. Now you're using this as a conduit to escapism. I'm just using this to kind of get through it. So then walk me kind of through the 20s, or So now is it just are you a functioning alcoholic?
At that point I was just a functioning alcoholic. And so back then I wouldn't even think that I was an alcoholic. I'm in my 20s. I'm just having fun, just like everyone else. I got the name Honey Gomez. I start, doing modeling, and I start getting into like the industry stuff, and I start hosting clubs. And, when you start getting into that type of stuff, then you start getting introduced to the other substances and
cocaine.
The cocaine. You know what I'm saying? So you start the Molly, the ecstasy, and I like to rave also back in my 20s. So I was raving, I was doing shrooms. So once all this partying started happening, it was like, and then, so with that led to the toxic and unhealthy relationships. Because now in my mind, in my mental, I have fear of abandonment. I have codependency. I have, just those different milestones that my core values were
Right.
I'm not enough. So I settled for whatever. Whoever liked me, whatever that the case was. And, that's not good to say. Like, I don't like repeating that,
Right.
So,
but it's what happened. It's your truth. It's, what I'm saying? And I think being able to be self-aware enough to know, things like that. Because I dealt with that as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's why part of me in my fight against alcoholism, my story was a little bit different than yours. I didn't drink because I had alcoholism running both sides of my family. So I never touched it. I always was like, I'm not going to mess with it. I didn't start drinking until I turned 30, moved to LA, and started kind of getting into comedy in the entertainment world. And then I didn't really become an alcoholic. I don't want to put air quotes like I'm not, but absolutely alcoholic. But it wasn't until I had weight loss surgery, because I used to be a lot bigger. I used to be almost 500 pounds. I get weight loss surgery. All of a sudden I can't eat. I think my food was my addiction. And then it flips over to, oh, well, nigga, I can drink.
Right.
And so then the drinking kind of became the thing that I would go to. But I think it all kind of came from never being enough, growing up kind of being, but like all that shit
core
shows
values
up.
that you
you
set
can't
for yourself.
outrun your feet. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So it all, catches up to you, you know what I'm saying, in the long run. So, from what I'm understanding then, it wasn't just alcohol that you had an addiction to. So now it's even more drugs. It's the party drugs, you know what I'm saying? Different things that you're...
I mean, even love was a drug. I just wanted, I was a
You were
fear of
addicted
being
to
alone.
love?
Like a fear of being alone.
Right.
So
Gotcha.
fear of being alone. So I always wanted someone there at all, so regardless of even getting kicked out of home, I always lived with somebody.
Okay.
So whether it was a significant other or family or siblings or friends, I always had someone to live with. So it was always codependent on...
Just somebody's going to be there.
Yeah.
Right.
To not be alone. Because
Okay.
I feel like... abandoned, you might leave me or something may happen. But, I eventually got into a domestic violence relationship, which was really hard to get out of.
Sorry to hear about that. Right.
But I love to talk about it because, when we're in those situations, we feel like we can't get out. And it's like no one can help us. But in reality, like, there are ways to get out of those situations. And unfortunately, mine came to, he almost killed me.
Jeez.
So that's how I got out. But I would never want, it's always a rock bottom for you to get out of something.
Right.
And that's what it took for me to get out of alcohol also. It's the rock bottom, but people's rock bottoms are different.
Right.
So after that, like in my 20s, what really slowed me down a little bit is I eventually adopted my godsons.
Okay.
So I took temporary custody. So I became a mom for a couple years.
That'll change some things up for you.
Yeah. So I slowed down my partying life and everything. But eventually when they went back with their parents fought for them. So when they went back to their parents, I was alone again.
Now you're back in that
Now
boat.
I'm back. I'm like, what?
So that fear of being alone has kind of always been there.
It's always
probably
been
since
there.
childhood.
And I never really, but I've always been alone. So I don't know
Right.
what the fear of being alone was. Trying to, like, what am I trying to tell myself? I guess I just didn't know how to be alone, even though I was alone.
The wild thing about what you're saying is because I be finding myself in some of these conversations that I have, and even at the the meetings I find myself in what other people say. I'm in a very similar situation now, just because I just realized that my whole life I always lived with somebody, and I think that it was also out of fear of being alone. Of course, the first 18 years of my life I'm at home, but then what I'm saying, once I get out, then the relationship with my daughter's mom, me and her were together for like 7 years, and then I moved to LA, and then I always had a roommate, what I'm saying, and then my daughter was living there, and like now she's gone, she's in college now, like she's a freshman at Howard, and so
Amazing.
now I'm finally at that space where I'm like, I'm by myself, and it's very uncomfortable because I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. So I just actually finished reading this book called The Art of Being Alone, and I finished it yesterday. It's like a one-day read.
Okay.
But it was just basically simply saying, like, your loneliness, you feel lonely when you can't be your real self. Like, are you scared of being who you are in those moments of solitude? But in those moments of solitude is where we as creatives, we stumble on our creativity. So we're like, why can't we be creative right now? And with the life of a hustle lifestyle, like where it's always go, 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 it's okay to be in silence. It's okay not to think. It's okay not to feel or get your next big move going. Like, this hustle culture has us all thinking that we have to be something right now and right away.
Right this moment.
Right this moment.
Today.
Like, we're like, oh my gosh, I'm 35. What am I doing next? I am happy. That's what I am. I'm happy with doing nothing right now.
Exactly. No, that's what I definitely think. I actually had because I'm definitely on my weight loss journey right now, and I went to the boxing gym. Maybe like a week ago, and I'm working out, and I'm just, mind you, I haven't been in a boxing gym probably 3 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just in there, and you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to just do super much. Like, you know what I mean? And the coach just kind of comes up to me because I kind of got to the point where I was just gassed. I was just like, and he was like, oh, you trying to get it all back in one day.
Right.
And that really resonated with me because I feel like we do that in so many areas. We just, we have this microwave mentality. It's like, nah, give it to me now, nigga. I need this now. And I think that there is some piece about just kind of sitting into the day and just
you have to
being happy that I'm even there.
Yeah, it's like I remember reading Will Smith's book, but he said brick by brick, and that's how you make
just
the
lay
wall.
a perfect brick.
Yes, that's
just
it. Like one day at a time.
Brick.
Then you will eventually prosper into what you're really trying to do. Like,
I know,
it's
but
not going to happen tomorrow.
But it's human nature, and I think social media fucks us up.
Social media, it's like you want
I'll
that
be having to
quick
get
fix.
off Instagram because I just be like, shit, everybody clearly has this life thing figured out. I don't.
Yeah, no. And see, that's the crazy thing because people always tell me, they're like, why do you fast from Instagram all the time? Like, I don't just take it off my phone. I deactivate it.
Okay.
Because if I take it off my phone, then I'll go on the internet and be like, wait,
Let me
someone
see.
mention me? No, I
Where
have to
everybody at?
deactivate
Right.
because Instagram, I feel like it's a comparing. You're always comparing, but those are not your real life. Everyone's trying to promote what they need to
And
promote.
they put
or
the best
content.
version of themselves
course,
up. They're not
because
going
if
to
you
put
put the worst version, then you're going to get
Nobody
canceled, or people are going to laugh at you, or
Scroll
people
past
and like
your
it's
shit.
like society, like the terms of, you know, these norms, these social norms that people are presenting is like, it's unrealistic.
Exactly.
It's literally
We're
unrealistic.
looking at the edited version of people's like the best
Absolutely.
moment that they could come up with. They're giving you there. So I definitely feel like there's something in there. So okay, so time goes by. You're going through your party girl stage. When do you realize this substance abuse shit might be a problem? Like, was there a turning point? Did you get locked up? Did a crazy situation happen? Was there a DUI? Like, was there anything that kind of happened to where it kind of hit you in the head like, okay, maybe I'm doing too much.
Yeah. I mean,
I need to chill.
I did get a DUI. I mean, there's been plenty of times where it happened where it's just like people were like, Des, you need to slow down, or because like
Did it ever land with you when they were telling you this, or were you just like, you're stupid, I like to party, it's my life?
I always had deaf ears.
Okay.
It always landed on deaf ears because for me, I'm like, but you guys like partying with me, so what's the problem? I'm getting you into clubs, so what's the problem? Like, so it's like, but it wasn't more so them like telling me like I need to slow down. It's because when I got drunk and stuff, like I'm already energetic and I'm already a happy person and I'm already like an adventurous person. But like when I got drunk, I'm like, I'm jumping off this cliff.
Times 10. So
Ain't nobody telling me nothing.
Right.
And so they're scared for me.
Right, because
like,
cliff jumping can be dangerous.
I mean, I love cliff jumping, but I'd rather do it sober.
Sober with a parachute on your back or something
Exactly.
to that effect.
So yeah, no, there was this one time I did get a DUI, and that took me through a loop because I mean, 10K, boom, blown,
Off the ripper.
done.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get out of jail was like $500.
Right.
But yeah, no, that took me into going to AA classes. Going to the meetings, meeting people, and hearing other people's lives. I'm like, and when I went to those, I was like, this is not for me. I am not that. I am not an addict. This is not my life, and
Right.
I'm not stealing, I'm not killing, and I'm not,
Right.
But it still resonated, and it still gave me the information I needed to slow down a little bit. So I think I always tried. I took breaks from alcohol. I'm like, nah, maybe it is. I need to slow down.
I'll drink on the weekends. Just beer
exactly.
and wine.
And so I went that way too. I was like, okay, no more hard alcohol. Now I'm going to just beer. And then I would play beer pong, and I would drink cases of beer, and I'd be same thing. Alcohol is all percentage alcohol is the same. Then I went to wine. I'm like, damn, I drank 2 bottles of wine by myself. So it's just like it doesn't matter the alcohol type. It's still alcohol. And so yeah, I mean there's many stories that got me to where I'm like, this is just not for me. And majority of them are just like relationships.
Okay.
It just killed relationships. Like
with friends, family.
Yeah, just in general, or even work relationships, Like I used to co-own an art gallery, and me and her our visions weren't the same anymore, artistically, and
that's another thing that you say too. So I know that you're an artist. Did you ever create any art while you were high?
I was always.
So did you ever?
I was always hosting. I was always, and I think a lot of it was because I was always in that industry. So when I was like co-CEO of Blow Thursdays, we would like throw all these parties, and I would always be taking shots with all the artists and stuff because, like, you know, that was just our thing. So I was always, but then at night when we had to do business, like I wasn't in my right mind to do business.
Right.
They're like, Des, we got to talk to you tomorrow. I'm like, whatever, da-da-da. But it's like you have to control, you know, the substance if you want to. No, don't do it.
Right.
I was like, wait, back up. No, just like, but just in general, like, yeah, it affected a lot of just relationships. So
when you finally decided to go sober, like, so I know you're saying like you were taking like different precautions, like, okay, well, I'll just drink on the weekends, or I'll just, so these were all attempts to get some level of sobriety. When was it that you said, okay, I want to get sober for real? And was there, you know, because right now you have, what, 2.5 years sober?
2.5 years. Today's 888 days.
Hey, 888.
Yeah.
Okay. So before this time, were there any times that you tried to go completely sober and slipped up?
Yeah. So in 2018 or 19, I believe, I went sober. I remember going to Al-Anon, and I went to AA, and I was going back to church, and I was lukewarm with church. I was still trying to I was trying to like figure out what my faith was, and this is my journey to truth.
Okay.
Because, you know, when people have identity crisis, and when people are they're like, what is this feeling that I'm running from? Like, you're trying to understand what these feelings are, because, you know, back in the 80s or 90s, like, we didn't have technology like we do now. We didn't have, you know, the therapy and stuff like that. So I'm trying to figure out what truth is. But no, there was a point in my life where I was like, this is it. 2019. I went to a AA meeting, and I met someone there, and he told me about his 50 years of sobriety, and I was like, okay, this is it. Like, maybe this is what I need to do. But then I fumbled because all my friends were just drinking, and there was just parties and stuff all the time.
So you were trying to go sober, but
I was trying to, but it was just like so much around me and everything. And then, the pandemic happened, and this is where a lot of stuff fell on my plate. The pandemic happened, and then my mom got cancer. Okay. And then I started losing hair, like alopecia. I started having bald spots and stuff from all the stress. And then I started dating a friend of mine. So it was like a pandemic relationship.
Okay.
So with all this, then I had to move back in with my mom and take care of her. And mind you, I haven't lived with my mom in years.
Since you were a teenager.
Yeah. And so, like, it was just a lot happening all at once, and I was still drinking to numb. And then the relationship that I was in was a substance relationship.
So like, both of you guys were
heavily.
Okay.
And heavily in drugs and alcohol, and I feel like that's what was keeping us together. And then I got pregnant. Okay. And then unfortunately wasn't pregnant anymore. So
sorry to hear that.
And that was, I think, one of the biggest turning points for me, because I've always wanted a family. Okay. You know, and so that really broke me, and I didn't know how to deal with it other than to drink. Like, the day I found out that I couldn't have the baby, I was like, drink. Right. And then even, like, he was like, why are you drinking so much? I'm like, I always drink. What are you talking about? Like, you know, being very defensive. And, you know, once we broke up, so I decided to go to Mexico for a friend's birthday, which happened to be my birthday too, but my birthday was coming up. So we were out there, we were just drinking. I was just like, I was already in a bad mental space. I was heartbroken in so many different ways. Heartbroken with my mom, heartbroken with, you know, breaking up with him, heartbroken with losing a child, just heartbroken.
And it seems like when things kind of hit you, it's hitting you a lot of different things at once. If you take this back to this, you know, when you were 17 and the boyfriend, the grandpa,
all at once.
Right.
And so when I'm thinking, like, why me? Those are always the questions. Why me? Why me? And so I was taking a lot of mezcal shots, and mezcal, you know, that smoky tequila, like, it's really powerful. Right. We were driving. I thought we were at our Airbnb, so I got out of the car, and when I put my foot outside of the car, the wheel was right there, so the wheel went over my foot. Ow! And long story short.
Wait, the wheel ran over your foot?
The back wheel ran over my foot, and I bent over and was like, you guys are on my foot, you guys are on my foot. So then they had to back up and went over my calf. What? And then it was still on my pants, so they had to go over one more time, and that's when I heard it crack. So my tibia fibia cracked.
I'm about to say, did the foot fall off of your leg? It ran over it 3 times?
It was 3 times. It was like, it was cracked.
And you were drunk?
Super drunk.
Probably didn't even feel it.
I didn't. Yeah. So I'm not going to say I was lucky I didn't feel it, but I just feel like God just had his hand on me, like, God has always had his hand on me, to be honest with you.
Right.
Because he doesn't give, the weak so many things all at once. He really
That's a
doesn't.
fact.
So yeah, I guess they were rushing me to the hospitals, and they were asking for so many, I don't have insurance in Mexico.
Right.
And all this money that they were asking for, I don't remember anything. All I remember is lights from, the hospital and stuff. And eventually they took me back to the Airbnb, and I woke up and I was just like in pain.
Wait. Your leg gets ran over 3 times. Mm-hmm. And in Mexico, they try to get you to a hospital. That don't work. So they just they just think putting some ice on this at the Airbnb is going to work?
I'm just rolling with it.
Put an ice pack on it. We need more than an ice pack, nigga.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're back at the Airbnb.
Yeah, I'm back at the Airbnb.
Rethinking life. Can't put no weight on this thing.
No. So mind you, this was, my birthday is May 1st.
Okay.
This was maybe like April. So when this happened, it was April 27th.
So a couple days before your birthday?
Yes.
Okay.
3 days before my birthday.
3. Okay.
My grandfather died April 27th, 15 years before that.
Wow.
I started heavily drinking on April 27th, 2006.
So this is a huge sign for you at this point.
Big sign. Either
Wow.
my grandfather's telling me, God's telling me, it's fate, it's something.
There's no coincidences
There's
in
no
life.
coincidence.
I'm a big numbers person too, so yeah.
So April 27th, 2021, 15 years later, this happens. I'm up there. I'm like, I can't feel my leg at this point. It's propped up. There's ice, and the people that I'm with started drinking already. It's morning time, and
Jesus.
They're doing what they're doing,
Right.
and we're trying to figure out. I was like, I need to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, they end up leaving the Airbnb to go find me like pain medicine, crutches, whatever. I was left there basically all day, but at some point I got up
with a 3 times run over leg.
Right. So I get up and I was like, you know what? I can't even get up. I don't know how I did it, but I got on both knees.
Wow.
Yeah. And I just remember, Psalms 34:4, I sought the Lord, he heard me, and he delivered me from my fears. And I prayed to him. I said, Father God, I no longer want to be in charge of my life. I no longer want to have control. I no longer want to have the wheel. It is all yours, and I surrendered. And
this is the last time you had a drink?
That was the last time I had a drink.
Ooh.
I smoked a cigarette. I did drugs.
Everything.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to say, there was a couple of things, yeah.
Right.
But
for the most part, you've been sober.
Yeah, and I was like, no sex, no nothing. I was abstinent, and I gave it up. And
oh, sex too?
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay, so
I went clear of everything.
Because at this time you're feeling like you had an addiction to sex as well.
Not an addiction to sex. I think
it wasn't serving your.
It wasn't serving me.
Uh-huh.
I mean, sex and relationships, I started to feel like it was just that. I think that over the years of analyzing, I feel like for intimacy, it has to be a soul connection.
True.
And so a lot of people use sex because, growing up, you learn pornography, you learn masturbation, you learn all this stuff, and all that is fake. It's all an illusion that the porn industry is giving you. So, I mean, I even gave up masturbation and porn and all that, because once I started digging deep in my faith and everything, I realized that that's the reason why, for us, we look at that and we're like, that's how we need to perform. Mm-hmm. And then now it's just performing. Now it's not even intimacy at this
it's just
point.
an act.
It's an act. Right.
That's so deep that you say that, because I feel like I'm at a similar space in my life. Like, you know what I mean? Like when I came to the conclusion I wasn't going to drink anymore, this literally happened on my birthday. A couple days before my birthday, I was getting drunk in my room by myself, had a bottle of Jameson, and I literally just felt like there was a voice in the room. Like, I felt like it was like the presence of God that was just, but it's like I could hear it just like a voice, like how me and you were talking, and it was just like, hey, we done with this. Mm-hmm. Drink what you want to drink on your birthday on Monday when you're done.
Yeah.
And I was just like somebody just physically, like I felt like it was somebody telling me that. So I was just
God,
like,
all right.
okay. So I finished having my little drinks, whatever. And then, but now that I'm trying to have a whole self-image, now that I'm like, okay, I know that alcohol is something that I'm done with. I'm also thinking about the sex thing, because I'm just 44 years old now. I ain't just out here trying to just be out here just fucking for nothing. You know what I mean? So it was also something that was kind of going on in my mind. It ain't just this one thing. There's other things that kind of tie into the whole, you need to kind of.
But that's what soul
purge
connections
from
are.
this.
When you're having sex with someone, that's another body, that's another soul that you are now incorporating within yourself. Like now you're taking on their depression, their anxiety, their hate for other
Everything.
people, everything. Like, yeah, that's what you're taking in. Like, we don't realize how much that affects us.
No, absolutely. It really does. I actually, because I don't know how much you know, but I'm a comedian. So I make jokes about, so a lot of these things that be serious, but I kind of find them funny. But I had kind of, I was working on a joke, not too long ago, and I had actually said that, why do we, when we're having sex with people, it's not just, sexually transmitted diseases that you need to be worried about. You need to worry about the other STD that you can get, and that's a spiritually transmitted disease.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I feel like that's the most
There's
intimate
some,
you
like,
can
demonic
be.
spirits out there,
and
yeah.
you can, like you said, like, you know what I'm saying, and you can't put a condom on your heart.
You cannot.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you can if you abstain.
So, you know what I'm saying? So, I definitely think that that's I commend you for, for doing that. Let me ask you this. So, you say, so you abstain from a lot of different things, like, you know what I'm saying, whether it's the different types of drugs, alcohol, like you said, sex, porn, all those things. Do you feel like it could be a house of cards effect to where, like, if you dabble in one thing, it might make you weak and, start to do another thing? So what I mean is, if you slip up and have sex, it's like, oh shit, well now, fuck it, let me have a drink. Like, do you feel like all these things are connected, so you need to keep them in a baseline structure with each other?
Yes and no. I actually didn't stop smoking the puff pen right away. But I eventually stopped smoking the puff pen. But and then I would still smoke hookah from here on, and it didn't deter my mind.
It didn't deter you from the other stuff.
Yeah, it didn't make me want to drink.
Okay.
But then I noticed, I was like, but this isn't serving me either. So then I have to give those up too. Yeah, and like from time to time, I'm like, let me see what that tastes like. Oh, no. And it reminds me, like, I don't want that. But it's not like the covenant that I made with the other things.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So
Those are
I
the
know
serious
that
things
those
that
are
were
the serious.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am. Like, I can't drink alcohol. Like, not even a little bit. Like, but at the same time, like, if somebody has me some weed, I'll be like, oh, I can smoke weed. Just because I don't feel like I have a problem with weed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't have, any of the issues that I had with, alcohol. But at the same time, a part of me feels like, kind of like how you said, like, well, one day you're going to have to give that up too.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Just
It's eventually, I mean, because like I remember after all that, I remember doing some shrooms at like a rave that I went to with my friends, and it was so demonic. Like, it took over my mind, and I started thinking all these negative things, like, you're not good enough. Everyone's laughing at you. Look at everyone. Like, it's so crazy. And, like, it just started attacking me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, yeah, no. This is not for me. And I thought, because in my mind, I was like, well, they're mushrooms. They're,
organic. They're from the earth.
They're from the earth. No, if you
it's
do
easy
enough
to say
of it,
that about weed, too.
Yeah, but that's the thing. There's so much chemicals in these things these days that they are going to alter your mind.
Oh yeah, they're mind-altering
It's still chemicals.
substances.
It's still something. I mean, there's fentanol in cocaine. They're
putting fentanyl on the weed now.
They're putting fentanyl on everything.
They ain't got time for this.
Yeah, so it's just a lot. And I just remember when I finally got back from Mexico. It took me 3 days to get back from Mexico. So how did they fix the leg?
So did you have to get a cast or something?
No, I got back from Mexico. I finally made it to UCLA, and it was black. They were like, we need to take you in now. And my insurance didn't cover the UCLA where I went, but they were like, the surgeon was like, you know what? I'm going to take you. This is going to be pro bono because you need to get this fixed. So I actually have a titanium leg now. So it's connected with a bar. They took the screws out, but it was the tibia was broken so much that it needs to be held with a titanium bar. So
you have a daily reminder, like
a daily reminder. Yeah. So it's hard for me to pivot sometimes. Like, I don't surf or I don't skate like I used to, or, there's different things that I can't do anymore. Luckily I can go through the airport without buzzing, but
well, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Good start.
Otherwise I'll be like, dang, I can't go anywhere. But
so tell me this. So obviously you got locked in with your higher power when you that day.
Yeah.
So, but what did it take for you to get sober? So was it you prayed that day, and from that day on, all desire for that went away?
So after my surgery, so crazy enough, before I went to Mexico, I got an apartment. I was like, Mom, I gotta go. Like, this is it. I'm
love you to death, but
you're in remission. There's no more cancer. We're good.
Right.
I no longer am here with the boyfriend. I don't want to move back with my sister, and her family. So I was like, I need my own apartment, and I got my apartment. And this time, I'm living with no one. Right.
So this is the first time.
No
in
one.
Life, right?
Yeah. no nothing. So when I went to Mexico and I came back and I was like, I'm living with no one. Who's going to take care of me?
My leg.
Yeah. So like I'm in bed. I have to be in bed for, I'm in bed rest for maybe 2 months. And, they gave me Percocet and they gave me, these high doses of pain pills.
These can be problematic.
Right. And they gave me these high doses of pain pills for my leg. And when I got home, I decided I'm not going to take them. I'm going to feel the pain. Woman. So within these moments of solitude, within these moments of me being by myself, friends would send me, go shopping for me and they would send me things. But for the most part, I'm here by myself for 2 months in bed.
Walk me
Did
through
I watch
that.
TV? No. I opened up the Bible.
Really?
And I started to read.
Wow.
And this is where I found my truth. This is where I found Jesus. This is where I found the love letters that I've been looking for my whole life. This is where I found me. I started to write. And I started to write my traumas. I started to write why I felt these ways about myself. I wrote my core values and why I thought that. Did
a lot of self-inventory on yourself.
I did a lot of self-awareness, yes. It's a lot of, and that's where it all started, to be honest.
And so that's what kind of got the sobriety ball
and I was
rolling
like,
for you.
People, even now, the questions are always asked, like, why don't you drink? I'm like, why should I drink? Like, why do you drink? Like, now I can ask those questions, like,
flip it on them.
Are you happy? Are you okay?
Right.
Like, what are you hiding? Do you think you're fun without it? That's
what I was gonna lead to the next question. So it's definitely hard getting sober. Because
alcohol and substance, if you think about it too, you use that to become a different person because maybe you're too scared to talk or you're timid, and stuff like that. But what I realized is those things actually made me more timid. And I forgot about who I was before those things.
Wow.
Like, who were you before any of those things?
But it would have been very easy for you to think that, am I stuck? You didn't have any fear or trepidation that you weren't going to be as funny and vibrational and quirky and
to who?
Artistic. No, to the outside
world. That's what I'm saying. But to who? Those are things that I was doing this whole time, people pleasing. People pleasing, being codependent, thinking about other people's opinions. Those don't matter to me anymore. And I'm serving one person and one person. I'm serving God. Right. Now I'm serving me. Now I'm serving, what makes me happy. What do I care about? Do I care about making other people laugh? I mean, it'll do it automatically. It's not like forced or like I need this alcohol to make a funny joke. Like
no, and the reason why I asked you that too is because I think that's kind of like the phase that I'm in right now. Because even though my longest stretch of sobriety, because I actually went to rehab. You never had to go to rehab. I went to rehab twice. First time I went, they got raided by the FBI. So I was like, God must want me to drink. Like, you know what I'm saying? Then I went and I completed it, and then I did the 30-day program or whatever. Then I came out, did 939 days. But now I was in such a different place then than I am now. So now I'm almost just like a baby learning how to walk again. Like, is everything going to be just as fun as it was? Am I going to be as creative as, even though I know the real answers in my mind, because I spent 30 years of my life not drinking. Like, I know who I am for real, but sometimes like I just be like, damn, sober life is boring. Like I'm kind of in that phase right now. Like, well, what am I supposed to, saying?
And that's the crazy part because I still go out with my friends. I still have, people are like, well, just have one drink. I was like, nah, give me a mocktail. I personally don't like how it tastes. I never liked how it tastes, actually.
Alcohol is pretty disgusting.
It's nasty. Like, it burns your esophagus.
Poison. Yeah. It's literally poison.
And so, I still have fun. I still go to events. I still go to, I still travel. I still go do things that I want to do. But that's another thing, too. Like, the things that I like to do now at my age, you don't need alcohol to go hiking, or you don't need alcohol to, sit on the beach, or, just simple things.
Sing karaoke.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess,
I mean, some people need it, but no, I'd rather go out there and do everything sober. And people ask me well, eventually, do you think you're going to drink again? And maybe if you asked me that a year ago, I'd be like, maybe after I have kids, I'll probably want to have a sip of wine or something. But to be honest with you, I don't think I'm ever going back. I don't think I need to.
It's nothing there.
Yeah, I don't think I need to. I don't like the taste. I don't like the feeling. I personally, I'm addicted to coffee, so. But I fast from it all the time just so I
Right.
can tell myself I'm not addicted.
Right.
I like the taste of that.
I'm dealing with that. I'm addicted to Red Bulls, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, I gotta chill with this.
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. My heart,
My
palpitation.
baby heart can't take this. But
Yeah.
so now that you're living the sober life, like, what do you have to say to people? Because I know that there's a ton of people out there, you know what I'm saying, that think, what would you say to a person that's starting to think that they may have an issue with alcohol or with substance abuse? Like, what are some of the telltale signs to know that, hey, this might be something that's kicking your
Yeah,
ass?
I mean, there's a couple of things that I've noticed. Like, I'm more present. I'm way more present now. I
Okay.
have a memory. I can
Me
remember
too.
things. Like, it could be small things. Like, where did I put my keys? Like, now I could actually remember certain things, you know? And Lord, I save so much money.
For
When
real.
when people are always like, how do you travel? How do you travel? I don't spend my money on, frivolous things, materialistic things. I don't do that. Like, I spend my money on my travel, and that's where it is. But when I used to drink, I look at my bank account because when I drank, I also got very, I gifted people things. I'm like, you want to drink? You want to drink here? So now I look
shot
at my
for
bank.
you.
Yeah.
You get a shot. You get a shot.
So now I look at my bank account. I'm like, okay, my money's still there.
Right.
But before, it's like, damn, $1,000. Like, what did I spend on? Like, it's like it's
It'd be
crazy,
wild.
and it's really expensive. I mean, everything's expensive now, but
Right.
liquor was really expensive. But yeah, just if you're going through it, just know that there's light at the other side of that tunnel.
So no, definitely.
And I know these are so cliche, but one day at a time, this too shall pass.
Right.
It is. Alcohol, once again, is a spirit that's really dark.
It definitely is, and I find I'm not gonna lie, and just because sometimes I don't feel like I'm 100% out of the woods yet. Like, I was just dealing with a stressful situation maybe like a week and a half ago, and like for a split second I was just like, damn, I want to drink, and I'm just
But in those times when you want to drink, it's like, go running, call a therapist, call a friend, go.
Right.
There's other things that you can do to eliminate your mind from going so much.
Right.
And it is because, like, you want to drink because you want to numb whatever it is that you're going through, right?
Right. So when you're dealing with those things, because I'm pretty sure life don't stop life, and like you still have
Absolutely.
regulars. So have you found different coping mechanisms to deal with life on life's terms? Like, now that you don't have the
I
substances
pray
to
a
deal
lot.
with. Okay.
And God always answers prayers. So and when I am feeling some type of way, like I go to the beach, or I'll go grab a coffee, or, I find different things, because it's literally just keeping your mind active at all times, just making sure that you don't fall in that, but I can be transparent with you. I was going through some stuff a couple weeks ago, and I actually for once thought about having a drink, but then I thought about it. I'm like, but what is that going to do? What is that going to do for me?
Wow.
So then I just faced it. I faced that feeling that I was having. I was like, okay, Desiree, sit down, write it down. What is this feeling you're having? And why is it
So
triggering
you
you right now?
dissected and try to find out.
Basically, I'm like, why is it triggering you right now? Okay.
And that happened 2.5 years into your sobriety, so it never really fully goes away.
No, it never fully goes away, because you're human.
Right.
And you have thoughts. I mean,
But the fact that you were able to dissect it and be self-aware enough to say, hey, I must be dealing with something else, so you were able to kind of piece it together. And when that happened, were you able to find a more productive way to deal with it? Was it just like, was it a run? Was it a trip to the beach? Was it just, hey, writing it down and looking at it is enough?
Yeah, writing it down helped me, because I dissected it, and I was like, okay, this is actually a trigger for me. Okay, so all I had to do was like breathe, just breathe, think about it, because tomorrow's another day, and you're not going to feel this way tomorrow.
Right.
And then the next day after that, and it's going to work its way out, because no matter what, it always works its way out. Like, whatever it is, it's always going to work its way out. And what's not for me is not meant for me. So the things that I was harping on, I was like, do I need this? Do I need this? If it's not for me, that's not for me. And I just had to let it go. And I know that's another cliche, let go and let God, but it honestly is, because that's you trying to control the situation again. And I was like, surrender. So I surrendered it again, and He took care of it, and it all worked out.
I think there's definitely a lot of credence into that, because when I did lose my sobriety back in 2020, I'll never forget. Like, I remember the day like it was just yesterday. It was just like I was going through a pretty messy business relationship, and it just was bad. And I remember when I made the decision, and I was just like, one or two things, because I was just so pent up about whatever was bothering me, and I was just like, either I'm going to drink or I'm going to hurt myself. One of the two things going to happen. I've never really been like a suicidal person or anything, but like I remember just feeling like that's about where I'm at with it. And I just like to this day, I just wish that I just would have just sat down for 20 minutes, maybe like you said, write it down, because it really wasn't that serious.
Yeah.
And
Or
me
you could have went boxing, like you said,
and
and
punched
let
the
it
bag
out.
or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. And so now that's what I'm learning too. It's just like, it's just dealing with ebbs and flows and waves of emotions, and just knowing that I'm not gonna feel like this forever. So just deal with whatever is happening right now. Look it face on. And then, you know what I'm saying? Because the alcohol ain't going to fix shit.
It's not going to fix anything. It's just going to, it's temporary. It's temporary pleasure. And that's what most things are. Like, I remember reading, I forgot, Viktor Frankl, I believe, said, but a lot of people go to pleasure when they don't see no purpose. Mm-hmm. And that's always going to be like the thing. And that's when I always have to remember, like, pleasure is temporary, but your purpose is what you're.
And sometimes our mind tricks us into that. It feels like you want to feel better, like you want that.
Yeah, but that's temporary.
Yeah,
because it's still going to be there tomorrow. But that's if you write it down, and if you analyze your mind and your thoughts, and you get to the main source, then you fix it right there. But it's like emotions are temporary too, because you can have so many different emotions in one moment, but tomorrow your emotions they're done. That's it.
It's like I like to liken it to the ocean. It's just like waves, like, you know, because sometimes I deal with depression, I deal with anxiety, like, you know what I'm saying, and sometimes I have to just sit down and just be like, this isn't. And it's also
ego.
It's just happening. Absolutely.
And it's like that. You have to remember death to that ego, because, and that's one of the triggers that I had. I was like, okay, this is my ego. Let me drop this really quick. Because if I drop that ego, then what is it doesn't matter. Exactly. Now it doesn't matter.
Yes, somebody told me the acronym for ego is edging God out. That's what we're doing when we're having an ego. So I try not to have that. Yep. And I try to just, like you said.
That's a good one, edging God out.
I try to just lock in and, strengthen my relationship with God, and just kind of go to him just when I'm dealing with these things. Like, that's why I'm glad that, we've created a platform like this to normalize sobriety, and to normalize the conversations, because it's just like, that's a lot, 90% of it, a lot of times, is people just feeling alone and feeling like not nobody else can understand what they're dealing with. That's why I'm glad that, you're taking time out of your day to be the first woman on here, because I know we have, a lot of my audience is men, but I know we also have women out there that can kind of be able to relate and be like, wow, like, you know what I'm saying? And, looking at you, like, I'm saying, I'm pretty sure people wouldn't think you're a person that had, because, but then that also lets you know that alcoholism or addiction doesn't have a type, it doesn't have a look, it doesn't have an arc, it just... Anybody could be that shit. So I'm definitely, happy for you, sharing all of your experiences with me. And what is one of the favorite things that you would say that you like about your new sober life? Because you had a bunch of time on the other side of it, but what's one of the favorite things that you have now that you're just free of all that?
I'm just, like I said, I'm present and I'm happy. And I just I get to see the world in a whole new lens. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's like just the present lens. Like, I could sit with myself and I could sit with people knowing that I'm going to remember this.
I'm not going to need to be talked through what happened.
Tomorrow, I'm not going to have to apologize for anything. I'm not going to feel no guilt, no doubt. Right. Like, what I said is what I said.
I said what I said.
And I mean it. And I stand by it.
For sure. Nah, I definitely appreciate that. And I definitely appreciate, the way you look at things. I wish you 1,000,001 more days of sobriety. Thank you for coming and sitting with us on Sober Saturdays. Plug the people. Let them know where they can find you at, anything you might have going on, anywhere they can follow you on social media. Anything you want to plug now, it's a great time too. No,
Honey Gomez on Instagram. Just follow me and travel with me. Be with me on my venture.
And what I kind of want to know, what made you get into traveling? I know that you're traveling a lot now, but what kind of piqued your interest to get into traveling?
I think Bali.
No, I'm just saying, like, I mean, I know that that you, just in general, like, you just want just to see the world.
Culture. I feel like America, we're very spoiled here.
We are.
And when you start living in just you're blind. Like, I just wanted to go. I wanted to explore the world and see what other cultures and what other people had to do. Like, I just came back from Guatemala on a mission trip with my church, and
nice.
Once again, like, I grew up in poverty, but seeing other poverty too, and seeing how their government is, and just seeing how other people live, like, it just brings light. And I just want to spread the gospel and spread Christ out there, and so traveling, like, to see what other people believe in and what their struggles and what their testimonies are, to be honest. I just love it. I love hearing from
Nice.
other people.
Well, yeah,
Not
I'm
just,
definitely gonna
not just
keep-
the spoiled ones.
Right. I'm definitely going to keep following your page and living vicariously through your trips. It seems pretty cool.
I appreciate
So,
you. Thank
yeah.
you for having me.
Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been another installment of Sober Saturdays. Make sure you guys like the video, comment on the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. If you got any questions for Annie Gomez, put them in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we can reach back out to her and she can answer them. Or maybe we'll get her to come back again and talk to us about her sober life one of these future episodes. My name has been DoBoy. This has been the beautiful Honey Gomez. We'll check you guys out next time.
Thank you.
Peace.